One of them is evil.
I'm currently reading Girl Dinner by Olivia Blake and I'm enjoying this. It's really heavy on the socio-political talks, especially about feminism, but even though it is so, I do still enjoy seeing the two main female characters navigate the world that they're in. So, what did I want to say? Yeah, this is for like a spooky-ish kind of Halloween-y read. I'm glad I picked this up now because it does have to do with cannibalism. And I'm okay with saying that because it is kind of implied by the cover and also by the author herself. She always says that like this is like girl dinner and slash cannibalism book. So I don't want to spoil it, but I do want to share some of my thoughts that can be considered non-spoilery, and it's mostly to do with like the conversations that are being had on this one. And I think like I am chronically online because I do see commonalities with like online figures, if that makes any sense. I do want to say that this has a quite a big focus on motherhood, and listen, I thought I wasn't gonna like it because from the moment that we were introduced by the one main character, Dr. Sloane Hartley, she's a mother that's returning to academia and she actually is dealing with a demotion because on the previous campus obviously she had to leave and take care of her child. So now she's joining the campus of her husband and she's trying to work her way out of being an adjunct professor. I thought I might not like it because of that aspect of motherhood, because I typically don't enjoy that much having motherhood in fiction. I know it's a big thing, but I don't typically pick up those type of books, and I'm actually presently surprised. Maybe it's because I attended a baby shower recently. I'm not saying that I want to be a mother. I don't actually want to be a mother, but I am saying that like it's part of being human to be at least somewhat fascinated or interested in learning different voices, and obviously mothers are a big voice in our lives, especially as women. So I am enjoying it actually, and that's what's surprising me, and that just comes to show how I really do resonate with Olivia Blake's writing. I know a lot of people do not like her writing style. She's very modern, she's very much like comedic in some ways, and you could tell that she's chronically online, but she's also have a twist for the literary style of writing, and I actually enjoy that. I enjoy someone who just writes because they love writing and is having fun writing and discussing ideas on the page, and she's that type of writer. So yeah, I'll come back with more of my thoughts and impressions, but I just wanted to say that quickly. Oh my god.
We're riding.
Please don't bite the head, son.
It's Phantom of the Opera.
wishing you were somehow here, knowing that I'm all alone.
The Phantom of the Opera. I would not survive in a horror movie. Hello, I wanted to give a little bit of a reading update because I was reading a little bit of like spooky books for Halloween, but on the Halloween weekend I got so busy. There's something about fall time that actually converts me a little bit into an extrovert, and I'm not complaining because it's good sometimes to get out there and do things. And also this Halloween season we had TIFA, so it was right in the middle of all the festivities. So basically on Halloween, I went out to Casa Loma with my mom and my sister. I'll insert clips. It was such a nice experience. I've never been to Casa Loma before, so walking through the gardens and in the tunnel and in the castle was so fun. And also, like, they have such a big production value. It wasn't scary, but it was beautiful. And there was a point in the tunnel where they had like a guy singing Phantom of the Opera, which I love because, as you guys know, I recently read that in French recently and I posted a vlog of that. So I was not expecting that and was so pleasantly surprised. Then I went over to my friend's house. We had some drinks, played some games, and then went home, slept, woke up after only a few hours and got ready to go to TIFA on Saturday, November the 1st. And I got to see 3 separate events. So I got to see 3 separate events, but what ended up happening is that I initially picked this day because I definitely wanted to see Andre Osman at like 7 to 8 p.m. But unfortunately, like the night before, they canceled his event, and I was so devastated because, like, how often do you get to see Andre Osman, especially in Toronto? And yeah, I was sad, I was upset, but the 3 events that I ended up going to were really good. And the funny part is that TIFA this year is like sponsored by Victoria College at U of T. So being on campus was just so strange and weird because the area where most of the events were areas that I had most of my classes for both English and French lit. So it just felt surreal to me. Like, I miss being there. I miss being at U of T. But yeah, I'll talk more about the events on another day. I only took like a few clips on my phone, so I'll try to attach them here.
Tell me what your book is all about.
Thank you, first of all, and thanks everyone for coming, and I'm rooting for you tonight.
It's kind of odd, like watching a science experiment that's gone crazy.
I want to remind us about, he said, existence is resistance, right? And I think
was pleading with me to ignore the strict rules for women and children to enter the dinghies first. They will stretch the romanticism of my death at only 27 years of age, saying that according to the allure, I went back to my cabin to retrieve one of my most treasured books.
A fast train back to Paris by lunchtime today, the 22nd. She supposes she came all the way to Granville because it's the end of the line. The Company of the West posters call this wind-raked town the Monaco of the North. In the hours Mado has been in Granville, she has not sought out the lighthouse or the casino or any of the so-called sights of this resort off-season, except one. She did have a weak hankering to, for once in her life, set eyes on the sea.
But they were really good. I really did like the presenters and the authors. I have most of the books by these authors, so it's not like I don't know these authors. I mean, there's maybe 2 or 3 that I didn't know beforehand, but I enjoyed my time. TIFA is always a great event that I look forward to every year. And what else? Then I had a Halloween party at my friend's house, so I did that. And then by the time that the end of the weekend came around, I hardly did any reading, and I was so exhausted. But I did end up reading one book, and I ended up watching 3 kind of spooky Halloweeny movies, so I want to talk about those right now. So I finally read Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell, and the illustrator is Faith Aaron. And I really did enjoy this. It was very cute. If you like pumpkin and the fall season, you'll definitely enjoy this. It actually has more to do with friendship than anything else, because we have Deja and Josiah that are like pumpkin patch friends, and every season they work together, and this is their last season at the patch. And not only that, this is their last day at the patch before they're both going and heading off to university for 4 years, so they basically won't be back. So yeah, it's a great book about the power of friendship and about actually knowing someone, and you know, feeling comfortable and really not romanticizing a person, but really knowing the person that you're with and that you're friends with as well. And yeah, it was just so wholesome, and I just really enjoyed it. I don't know, I did. So, and for movies, I watched 1 scary movie, 2 scary movies. I don't know if I watched anything else. I watched Clown in a Cloverfield. I think that's what it's called. It's a recently released movie on Amazon, and yeah, this one was pretty good. It has to do with like scary clowns, so if you're into that, watch it. If you're not into that, then skip this one. It had its like unique blend to it. It's very modern, but it also really does play with like slasher type movies, obviously. So I did enjoy it. It wasn't like a new favorite, but it was pretty good. And then what else did I watch? I watched another one. Oh yeah, and the other one I watched was not horror, but it was psychological thriller, and it's called Drop. And it's basically this girl, she goes on a date with this guy that she's been talking to for months, and she's tasked to basically kill her date. Obviously she has a lot of moral quandary into doing that, and she doesn't want to do that, so she puts up a fight. And yeah, I actually really did enjoy that movie too. There were some like loose ends that, as a writer and as a like avid movie watcher, psychological thriller even movie watcher, I really did not enjoy. But it was still like a rewarding watch, and I definitely appreciate movies that are not only psychological thriller, but they do have like more sincere moments. So I do feel like the movie made a good job at showing that until it didn't. So yeah, I highly recommend those 2 movies if you just want to watch something just to watch them, maybe this season or next season. And I'm not sure if I watch any other horrors this season. Usually I do watch around 5 to 6 Halloween-y type movies, but like I said, I was pretty busy this year, so I didn't get around to it until like the end of the Halloween weekend. I'm just gonna check my notes app to see if I did watch something else. Oh yeah, I did. I watched this movie called It Feeds. This one was more like a kind of paranormal type movie, and it was good too. It's with Ashley Greene, who plays Alice in the Twilight series. This girl, she's just so gorgeous. Like the whole time I just was looking at her face, because I'm like, oh my god, she's so pretty. Like she has one of those faces where you're like, wow, like this is good genes. And I also did watch The Strangers Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. So I actually did watch 5 or 6 movies. So The Strangers Chapter 1, I really enjoyed it, and I was excited to see what they were going to do for Chapter 2, because I never watched it before. And I did like Chapter 2. Like I feel like the pacing was really quick, and I was on edge the whole movie. But I think that the thing that I realized is that the reason Chapter 1 is so good is because it has slow pacing with the quick pacing. Chapter 2 just feels like quick all the way through, so you don't really have much of the emotional connection. Of course, you do have the emotional connection to the main character. I think her name is Maya. But needless to say, I am excited to watch Chapter 3. Apparently, it has already been filmed, so they're just releasing them in like a delayed timeline. So I'm going to watch chapter 3 and hopefully it's going to be as good as chapter 1. I know there's a previous old school version of The Strangers, and I do believe I watched the first one when I was really young. So I will potentially maybe rewatch that next year. But yeah, that's it for horror. I also watched The Woman in Cabin 10, which is not really horror. It's more like psychological thriller. But this is the adaptation from the Ruth Ware novel, and I enjoyed it. It has Keira Knightley as the main character, but I don't know, I'm not sure yet if I really did enjoy the aspects that they changed for the movie, because the movie lost some of its original subplot, I would say. So I think I enjoyed the book a little bit more than the movie. And I also watched Another Simple Favor, but this one was more comedy than psychological thriller, but I was pleasantly surprised. I actually think I liked the second one more than the first one. It was quite funny and intriguing. So yeah, that's all that I watched in October pretty much. And I watched another movie in October that was called Shell, and that's with Kate Hudson and what's her name, the lady that plays in The Handmaid's Tale. I know this actress. I watch everything she's ever been in. Yes, Elizabeth Moss. And this movie was quite similar to The Substance. So if you like body gore type of movies, you might enjoy that one. I honestly don't think it was as well executed, but it was something thrilling to watch. And now for sure that's it that I've watched during October Halloween season. What else did I want to say? So I went to the TIFA events, like I said, but TIFA also does like separate events as well. So right now, tonight, I'm actually going to see Margaret Atwood present her new memoir, which is Book of Lives, a memoir of sorts. So I'm excited to go see her. This is the second time I'm seeing her give a talk in Toronto. The last time was when she released The Handmaid's Tale, the sequel, which is The Testaments, and that was back in, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, in either 2019 or 2020, so that's been a long time. And actually, last week I finished watching the last season of The Handmaid's Tale because I had just watched the first few episodes. So I watched that, and it's such an unsettling show, but I really do enjoy the show. I have still yet to read The Testaments, which is really bad, and I do believe they might make an adaptation of The Testaments, but they're probably making an adaptation that makes sense with the show version of The Handmaid's Tale. So either way, I still want to read The Testaments, and I'm still going to watch The Testament show whenever that gets released. So I'm excited to see her tonight. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a good clip, but yeah, I'll talk more about the events maybe tomorrow or on another day, because right now I'm a little bit rushed because I'm getting ready to go, and obviously it's quite a commute for me, like 2 hours to get down to Toronto. So I just want to make sure I have enough time. I just wanted to give a quick update of what I've been reading and watching. I'm also still reading, Girl Dinner. And I started reading Die, My Love, which is also a book that's being adapted with Jennifer Lawrence and Robert Pattinson. So I want to be able to finish that and then watch the movie at some point, maybe at the movie theaters next week. So that's what I'm reading. I'm still making my way through those few books. And I also wanted to read Hangs a Man by Shirley Jackson, but I'm not sure if I'm going to get to it this week because I have quite a few things to do, quite a few readings to do as well, but I will definitely come back and give an update.
Different lives. One of them is evil.
And you're not telling which one's which.
It's not me. I didn't do it.
I'll tell you the reason why I asked is because one of
So my keyboard and mouse finally came in, and I also got a stand for my laptop. And this is mostly because, like I said, I have this neck injury, so I'm not supposed to be bending. I'm not supposed to be writing or at my desk for a long time. So I'm trying to get better at that. And so this has been helping lately. I've just got it, so I'll have to see after a few weeks of using this and doing this like that. I really like the stand. It doesn't really move. It's really like solidified this way, but it's really easy to put together. It's just like 3 pieces that you put together, and the height is pretty good for me, and I'm pretty tall, so I'm going to like add and list everything down below in case you wanted to check these things out and see if you wanted to get some yourself. The only thing I will say is that the keyboard I did buy with the mouse, it comes with a USB that is not compatible with the Mac Pro. So if you have like a adapter, that's fine, but yeah, it's not a Type-C USB, so that's the only thing I'd be wary of. I also got a stack of new releases, as I said in the previous videos. So I was waiting for Margaret Atwood's memoir, which is The Book of Lives. Then we have Patti Smith's memoir, which is Bread of Angels. We have E. Lockhart's We Were Liars, the 3rd book, the prequel, which is called We Fell Apart. And then I also have The Missing Pages by Alison Richman. And I got this beautiful book. It's called Please Stop Trying to Leave Me by Alana Saab. And the reason why I got this book is because it's very similar to the book that I'm currently writing. And it has to do with depersonalization. So I definitely wanted to pick it up and read it and see. This one, I heard of it when I went to TIFA. It's really a beautiful cover, but the way that the author was talking about the story and the passages that she shared really moved me, like quite literally, to tears. So I said I really need to pick this book up. I'm like really struggling here. I don't know why. But this is like a Titanic type retelling, but it's not really about the Titanic. It's actually about this guy that really existed. His name is Harry Widener. And he has like a precious like collection of books at Harvard University. And unfortunately, he doesn't make it off the Titanic, but his mother is the one to build the Harry Widener Memorial Library at Harvard to memorialize his legacy. And so we follow like this dual timeline between Harvard and the events of the Titanic, and I just feel like I'm going to love this. It says it's for fans for The Midnight Library and The Book Thief, both books that I have not read yet, but I know I will love. I'm just saving them for like a rainy day or something, but I definitely want to read this, and this one just came out as well. So yeah, that's my stack of books that I really want to read next. I think I'm gonna start with obviously Margaret Atwood's memoir. So I actually want to close out this vlog. I know it's a shorter vlog with the Halloween weekend and the TIFA events. There's not much of me in this vlog in some ways, but I did do some reading. I am trying to work on my novel as well. I've just been like busy back to back with events and dealing with work related paperwork, so that's why I am all over the place. But I do want to say I went to see Margaret Atwood, obviously, at the Winter Garden Theatre in Toronto. I've never been to that theatre before. It was absolutely gorgeous. The venue was so gorgeous. It felt like, you know, when you enter those very old and historical building. I don't know how old that building was, but it actually felt like the Titanic. You know when Rose comes down that elaborate staircase, that it had a staircase that kind of felt that way in the way that it's grandiose and the lighting and everything. So but the event itself was amazing. Margaret Atwood is such a delight. She has such a like dry humor, wittiness to her, and you never even know what's coming out next from her mouth. I actually discovered in this event that she does palm reading. She learned palm reading at a young age, and that's like her party trick. And she also knows tarot and astrology, and I don't know, I never knew this side of her, and I really found that fascinating. So I definitely want to read her book in chronological order. I have read most of them in order. So I've read The Edible Woman, I've read Cat's Eye, I've read The Handmaid's Tale, and I've read some of her shorter poetry and short story works. So what I'm thinking to do next is to basically read the Testaments, because that's part of like The Handmaid's Tale, and I haven't finished that yet. So I want to read the Testaments first, then I want to start her memoir, and as I go along in her memoir, I'm gonna read her books that I haven't read yet in that order, and I think I'm gonna film the whole experience just in case that you guys want to see my thoughts and impression. I will obviously try to steer clear from any spoilers, but if you want to join in, let me know. But I'm thinking of doing like a vlog style update every 2 weeks or so, and I don't know how long it's gonna take me. I ideally would want to finish before the end of the year, but I know that's not reasonable, especially because she has like a trilogy as well that I want to read. So I'm just gonna make my way slowly. It's just the excitement of her memoir being released that really makes me want to pick up all of her works again. And this memoir is pretty thick. I think it's around almost like 600 or 800 pages, so I'm gonna take my time either way, and I'm gonna film the whole process. I obviously have a lot of other books that I want to read. I have a lot of new releases to read, and a lot of books that are related to my novel that I want to research and like find comp titles for. So that's a lot. Obviously, as you guys know, I'm always overly ambitious. So what I want to do right now is to get used to vlogging and filming videos and wrap-ups again, because I kind of lost that again with, you know, work and so many things that I'm juggling at the same time. So I think that's why I want to close this vlog, so that every vlog can have like a kind of thematic purpose, if that makes sense, or a kind of mood and ambiance. So this one is more like Halloween with TIFA, and the next one maybe it's gonna be Margaret Atwood or a cozy-ish vlog, because I have some books that I want to read that don't really fit in the next few projects that I want to do. I'm actually going up north to help my dad for the weekend, so I'm gonna bring obviously my books and my writing stuff. So if I have time to film, I might film a short vlog up north and maybe like a writing / reading vlog. We'll see, but for sure I do want to share what I read next concerning Margaret Atwood. I also wanted to go briefly and talk about the events that I did attend at TIFA that one day on the Saturday. I just wanted to briefly touch on what kind of books these authors write and what kind of themes that they broach. So in case you are curious to learn more about these authors or pick up their books, you can do so. So the first event I went to was Fiction Across Worlds with Andre Alexis and Suzanne Choi. Actually, Suzanne Choi, her latest novel, Flashlight, which I really want to read and pick up, but obviously I have too many books right now, so I'm just gonna wait it out, is actually, I think it's either in the long list or the short list for the Booker Prize, so that's really exciting. Basically, these two, they talk about how experimental fiction works and how they use like these elements of real life that feel more fictional than factual, and how real life can actually feel more fictional than fiction. And it's really interesting. They're very focused on place as well. Andre Alexis is actually a Torontonian writer, and Suzanne Choi is an American Korean writer. And actually her book, I believe, is set in North Korea and also Japan, and also probably as well the United States. So it has like that historical fiction timeline and mixed with some real events, I believe. The next event I went to is Identities and Expectations with Matthew R. Morris and Saeed Tibi. So both authors are actually Canadian. Saeed is actually a lawyer, or was a lawyer, and he's of Palestinian descent. And Matthew Morris is a Black Ontarian author. And so he wrote Black Boys Like Me, and they both read from their novels. Actually, every author on this list has read from their novels, and I found all the passages that they read very enticing and relatable. As someone who comes from an immigrant household and background, they deal a lot with, you know, being othered and also fitting into like Ontario, Toronto culture, right? And Saeed, his book, I forgot the name of his book. I'm just gonna research that quickly. It's about like his experience as a Palestinian, right? It says, "You Will Not Kill Our Imagination, a memoir of Palestine and writing in dark times." Basically, he talks about what it's like for him to be a Palestinian right now in this modern world, even in a place as multicultural in Canada and in Toronto, and the things that he has faced and overcome and the conversations that he's had. So both authors were actually quite a delight to hear. I had never heard of them before, and I definitely got motivated to read their books after hearing that talk. And then the last event I went to is Stories in Time with Emma Donoghue and Alison Richmond, as I mentioned. Emma Donoghue, she just recently published The Paris Express. If you know her name, it's because she wrote a lot of historical fiction books, notably Room, also The Wonder, Haven, what was the other one? The Pull of the Stars. That's the one that's like a pandemic type book, and so many other books. I've not finished reading anything by her, but I'm definitely intrigued by her range in historical fiction, and hearing her talk was so fascinating. So in The Paris Express, it's based on a true train crash, and I think I even learned about this crash, if I'm not mistaken, in one of my French classes, because it was quite a tragedy. So yes, it's the 1895 disaster that went down in history. It's at the Paris Montparnasse train station, and basically she takes all these cast of characters from different walks of life, authors and artists and working class people. She does an extensive research, and she actually puts in people she think would have been on that train in that time, because it's not known at a 100% who was on that train and who wasn't on that train. So there's a lot of speculative work that she's doing here that's very interesting, and it's also like a commentary on capitalism and the advancement of technology and the cost of the advancement of technology, because every time we had a new method of transportation, undoubtedly we had a lot of previous catastrophes, disasters, planes falling out of the sky, trains crashing, vehicles basically losing brakes, and all these little things that advance society because we have the need to speed, and also that need to segregate class with luxury, right? So you have the first class cart, where everything is comfortable and people are being pampered, and then you have the last cart where it's uncomfortable to sit on. There's a lot of people. There's the difference between first class and second class, right? So it's questions that, it's funny if you think about it, that we still deal with to this day, right? The advancement of technology, the separation of classes, the upgrading your ticket, having a certain kind of amount of money and influence to to use a certain technology, to be at the forefront, to be in a more comfortable position. So yeah, I really want to read this book first within all of her books, because this is the one I've heard her talk about and explain how she went about with her research. So I will definitely be reading these books at some point and coming back, reporting back my thoughts and impression. It's funny because I typically forget how much I love historical fiction, and some of the writing that I do is kind of bordering on historical fiction, but because I blend my genres and thematics so much, I actually forget that aspect that yes, if you're researching a certain time and you're using elements or people from that certain time, it is actually considered historical fiction. So yeah, fascinating. I loved all of these events, and I was pleasantly surprised. Unfortunately, the event with Andre Aciman was canceled, and that was the main event that I signed up for that day, to go to TIFA. It's really sad. I hope one day I'll get to meet him still. But yeah, that's that. I went as well. I told you I went to see Margaret Atwood, and there's one more event next week. I'm trying to see if I can move my physiotherapy from that day. If I can move it around, I'm probably gonna go to that event because there's still some tickets. And it's still sponsored by TIFA, and there's going to be Emma Donoghue again. There's going to be Mona Awad, which I've seen, and I've met her, like, for real. Like, I've actually met her, have a picture with her. And she has her new release this year, We Love You Bunny, and a few other great Canadian authors as well. So I'm hopeful that I can go to that event and report back. But yeah, I also finished Girl Dinner by Olivia Blake, and pretty much what I've said at the beginning is what I still believe. It's very heavy on the feminism, but it's not like giving you an answer to anything. It's more just exploring and uncovering the different facets and the different basically truths that we have to deal with as women. I'm still debating if I enjoyed the ending or not. I can understand why she decided to go with that ending, but I'm not sure if I enjoy it or if it's just another layer to challenge my enjoyment and my view and perspective on the novel. But definitely I enjoyed this. This is not my favorite Olivia Blake work, but it was a pleasant surprise. So this is what's been going on the last week or so. I'm gonna go and edit this because then after I have physio and then I'm driving up north, and then hopefully I can start the next vlog tomorrow morning. We'll see. I'm enjoying my time off work. I hope to be continuously off work, you know, because then I can just focus on writing and reading, going to certain events and filming for you guys, obviously. So yeah, let me know what you've been reading. Let me know if you read any books from any of these authors. What are you reading next? What are you working on? Let me know what you want to see. Do you want to see more reading vlogs? Do you want to see more writing vlogs? Do you want more sit-down videos? Do you want me to talk about a specific aspect of writing or reading or reviewing? Let me know. I'd love to know. Also, let me know what you think of me reading Atwood in chronological order and filming like a kind of reading vlog to update between her memoirs and her works in progress. And I just love to explore what the author was experiencing and thinking at the time of writing. And it actually reminded me that maybe I should write more of my writing process down. I have a journal that's dedicated strictly for writing, like my thoughts on the writing that I'm doing. I started it this year, but I feel like I've stopped writing in it for a while. Like the last time I was consistent with it was in January and February. So I do want to get back into this when I'm editing my novel and also writing my novel. So yeah, let me know if you'd like to see those behind the scenes in, you know, in a writer's life. And yeah, I'm gonna see you on the next vlog. Happy reading, happy writing, and I'll see you soon. Bye.